Have you ever all had a out-of-body experience that says you don't know how you could be as smart as the people who were just up here? I mean, seriously, my vocabulary is not quite like that. My vocabulary is going to be very simple for me so that I can follow what I'm saying. As I'll lose myself pretty doggone quickly. I don't know about you guys, but boy, I have had a chance to see people across the table one-on-one when things don't go right in their business. And what that usually means to me is that I watch them take their dream and try to toss it away or throw it to someone else and hope that they catch it. That's a very, very difficult thing because it really comes down to time, money, and frustration. I don't know about you, but I don't have an awful lot of that to spare. I get frustrated just driving down the street, and I certainly don't have an awful lot of money to throw around, and my time is very, very valuable. So what I wanted to do is just sort of introduce you to this concept of the Lean Startup Circle first, and then talk to you a little bit about what we have learned in that group over the last year and a half, plus some of the consulting work that I've done in the past. The Lean Startup process kind of looks like this. You get into a room and about an hour and a half later, everyone is walking out going, wow, I have never been in a meetup that was that hard at work. What we normally do is sit and chat a little bit about a particular project. And with that, all we really do is start to ask questions. And we ask the really hard questions, like what's going to happen with your product? Where do you want to sell it? Who do you want to sell it to? How much do you want to sell it for? What's it going to cost to develop it? Are you sure you're going down the right path? Oh, wait, you're probably not going down the right path. Let us help you go the right direction. And so what we do is once a month, we actually sit in the Mojo co-working space upstairs, and we have a very informal working session. This is roll up your sleeves, get down to brass tacks kind of work. This is not a social event. It's not a networking opportunity. It's an opportunity to come in and get your idea beat up. I know it doesn't sound really good, but it saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of money. We have seen some amazing things happen in that group. In fact, if you've ever heard of a carbon fiber sitar, that project was brought to the Lean Startup Circle in Asheville about 9 months ago, and I got a chance to see a YouTube video of the first sitar playing not more than about 3 weeks ago. And that would not have been possible if we hadn't had a collective number of minds in the room to try to help. So that's what we do in Lean Startup. And the easiest way to get information about Lean Startup is just to send a text to this number, and you will get a text back. And that will start a chain of events that you may not want to participate in. But it will, and we'll get you some additional information just to get you plugged in. So what have we learned over the last year and a half that if you were to walk out of here today might help you save yourself some time, some money, and some frustration? That's kind of what this group is all about. So the 5 biggest mistakes that startups make and how to avoid them. And the first one is going to make some people mad in this room, because I heard the cheering and the excitement in the very beginning about business plans. I think they stink. I don't like them. And I don't like them because the assumptions in them are usually wrong. Yeah, I see a bunch of heads nodding up and down, right? Because they were so wrong that when you finally got into business, you threw your business plan in a drawer, never looked at it again. Let me sort of back up a little bit before I make everybody really mad. Business plans have a purpose. Business plans have a purpose to communicate how your business operates to people that you're trying to get to fund your business. If you do not need somebody's funding or are not ready for somebody's funding, save the heartache. Don't do it yet. Don't do a business plan until you're ready. So business plans, I say, they have a purpose. And if you want to do 1,000 of them this year, that would be great, because that means that you have 1,000 businesses who are ready for somebody's funding. That would be fantastic. If
2,000.
2,000. Can I have 3? 3,000. All right. So, I mean, that's really the idea, is if we had 3,000 businesses in Asheville who were ready for funding, wow, how great would that be? But we do them so prematurely that we get all of the market statistics wrong, we get the finances wrong, and then you know what happens. Here's what happens. You go to you get somebody else's money, and you open your doors, you build your product, and then you realize nobody wants to buy it. They didn't want to buy what you thought they wanted to buy, and that's kind of this process of the lean startup circle. What we do is we challenge a set of assumptions, and we have you go test it. What is the next best thing that you can go and test and find out yes or no about? Go and talk to somebody as they're coming out of the grocery store. Would you buy this product or that product? Not would you buy a product, but show them something, a picture, a model, a something, so that they say yes or no. It would be even better if they gave you $1 to own whatever it is you had. And then you really have some emotional buy-in. So that's this process. And so the number one mistake I find people doing is spending time and energy on a business model. The second one is business plan. Not understanding the business model is the problem number 2. Business model in a nutshell. Ready? Here we go. Who's your customer? What problem does it solve? What kind of cash does it burn off? What kind of resources do you need in order to deliver it? And what do those cost? That's it. But if you don't understand that, you'll make a mistake every time. So business model is where it starts. And we actually talk about a business model in the Lean Startup Circle, where we talk about what problem do you solve? And how is this the right solution? Have you asked? Who is your customer? Do you know? So the second biggest mistake is not understanding the business model. The third is near and dear to most everybody in here: running out of money. Right? Oh, it was a great idea, but we ran out of money. There is a business tool out there called a cash flow projection that you should know and love. I know, I'm okay. I'm a recovering civil engineer. Math doesn't scare me, but for some people it might. Put the numbers together and try to figure out what it means. And it's very simple. Figure out what your income might be based on your model, what your expenses might be for your model, and January, February, March, April. See, I told you this is going to be simple vocabulary. Okay. Anyway, so run it and figure out how much cash you need in order to operate or sell or make. Figure it out. Because if you don't, you're going to run out of money. And that has got to be the biggest frustration I've ever seen on people's face when they're getting ready for a breakout and they don't have enough capital to actually make it to the next step. So running out of money is the third biggest problem. The fourth, concentrating on features. How many times have you ever bought a car and when you got there, the salesman said, well, let me tell you all the features for the car? That doesn't happen. Say, let me tell you what you're going to look like in this car, how it's going to feel. Concentrate on benefits for your customer. Please, focus on the benefit. They don't care what kind of feature gets them there. They just want to know that they're going to get there. And we find a lot of people ultra focused on feature sets rather than solving problems. And in that lean startup circle, we come back to that all the time. Don't give me your feature set. Tell me what problem you're solving. Keep telling me what problem you're solving. And then we're going to ask you whether or not that's a real assumption of if it's a real problem you're trying to solve. So that's the fourth one. And as we're finishing up here, underpricing your products or service. You've been slugging it out in the trenches for a long time. Finally got a product or a service ready to go. And when you get there, you don't have the gumption to ask people for the fair value of what it is because you're afraid they're going to say no. It happens. And there are so many companies out there that I've had a chance to work with where we sit and we chat about the real value of their product or service. And we find that the real value is undermarked by a factor of 2 or 3. They're just not asking enough. And so it puts pressure on everything else that you do. Puts pressure on the business model, puts pressure on the cash flow model, and it puts stress in the system. It doesn't belong there. And normally what we would do in a lean startup circle process is we would say, how much do you think you're going to charge? How did you come up with that? And have you asked anybody whether that's reasonable? And then double it and ask them if that's reasonable. And then double it again and ask if it's reasonable. You'll start to get to a point of pain, and when you start to get to the point of pain, then you know you're close. But don't undersell your products and services. So those are the 5 biggest, and with those, if you don't solve them, you do run out of time, you run out of money, and you get so frustrated, it's ridiculous. And so we would love to have you in the Lean Startup Circle. Like I said, this is the way to get some information for the Lean Startup Circle. It's a meetup. You can find it on meetup.com. It's the second Wednesday of every month, and we run from 4:30 to 6. Come as you are. Come with great ideas. Come with an open mind. And that's it. Thanks a lot.